everybody, it's Kira and welcome back to my channel. So today I have my October wrap up for you guys, but first I have my October haul, which is just one book, but I'm very excited about it. And it is the exclusive collector's edition of An Ember in the Ashes. So I pre-ordered this right when it was first announced in like June or something. So it is of course just An Ember in the Ashes, but it is signed, which I'm very excited about. Like, oh, I didn't realize it was going to be signed either, so I was very excited when I found that out. And then there are also annotated chapters in the back of it. And let me just show you the book without the dust jacket, because it's freaking epic. I just think that is so cool. It's the Black Cliff diamond with ST for Sabbath here, and it's just white and beautiful. So yes, this was the only book that I bought in the month of October, so now we'll get into the books that I read this past month. So I started this month by rereading Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets in the Hufflepuff House edition that I got while I was in England. I've decided this is definitely not my favorite of the books. It's actually probably one of my least favorites, mostly because a lot of it feels like it's just very similar to the first book. But it reminded me so much of the fact that Lockhart is like the most ridiculous character I've ever read about. Like, he's just so crazy, and I love that everybody else is annoyed with him too. And that Snape is so mean. Like, I really dislike Snape, especially in these first couple of books. I'm curious to see if my thoughts on Snape's redemption storyline will differ as I'm reading this time through, but like, he's just extremely mean and rude to Neville and Hermione as well as Harry, and just like all of the other students, and it's just not a great time. But of course it's Harry Potter, so like, I loved my time reading it, and it was a good time. Next up, I read The Castle in the Attic by Elizabeth Winthrop, and this was a book that I read when I was little, and I like vaguely remembered it, and so I got it from a book sale earlier this year and thought it'd be fun to reread it. And it's about this boy named William who gets gifted this really cool castle and this one toy soldier. And then one time he picks up the soldier and the soldier comes to life. And so then they end up having a really cool adventure. It's just a really cute, fun book that's middle grade, so yeah. Next up, I read this book called Flashpoint by Nancy Kress, and this is like a dystopian with lots of like tech and sci-fi-ish elements to it. So basically it's about this girl named Amy, and she is in need of money. She joins this TV show, which has the worst title, and I'm really annoyed that like they didn't end up changing the title throughout the book, but it's called Who Knows People Baby You, and like that's the title of the show throughout the whole thing, and it's just, that just annoyed me. But basically she joins this TV show, and basically it's her and a bunch of other people, other teenagers, and they're put into these like situations, but they're using holograms sometimes, but sometimes they're not, so you never really know like what's real or what's not. It was just a weird book. I didn't really enjoy it. I got it from a library book sale a while ago and figured I should probably read it since it's been sitting on my shelf. But it just wasn't that well written. I didn't really like any of the characters. There was like all this weird romance going on in it. It was just not as great of a time. After that, I read The Battle for the Castle by Elizabeth Winthrop. This is the sequel to The Castle in the Attic. And it was weird because I think that I may have read this before, but because there were like parts of it, pieces of it that felt familiar, but then there were other parts of it that I didn't remember. So it was a good read. I think I still like Castle in the Attic better than I like Battle of the Castle, but it's always nice to get a sequel, kind of catch up with the characters, see what's happening since the events of the last book. So yeah, read this one too. After that, I picked up one that I quite enjoyed, and that is A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Brigid Kemmerer. I think is how you say that. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but it's a little bit, so there's a girl from our world that gets taken to this magical world, and basically the prince is like stuck in a time loop, and so there's only a certain amount of time until he turns into a monster, and he has to get a girl to fall in love with him before he turns into a monster, and goes on a rampage. And even if he dies, he will still reset at the beginning of like the next season, because there's this witch that has put this curse on him. So it was really, really good. I quite enjoyed it. It was nice because it didn't feel like you knew it was a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but there were still elements of it that were different. And the main character, whose name I am forgetting, and the main character, Harper, was very much a tough girl, like, I'm going to do this myself and fight for my family. And so I quite enjoyed that aspect of her character. And it was really interesting, like, having her, because there's a couple times where it jumps back and forth between the worlds. And so that was a little bit different as well. So very well written, and quite enjoyed my time with this one. Next up, I finished my reread of The Son of Neptune by Rick Riordan. So randomly, I picked this as a book to reread as an audiobook because I've never listened to the audiobooks of the Heroes of Olympus series, and I'd kind of been feeling just like I wanted to read them again. So I skipped The Lost Hero because it's not my favorite, honestly. Like, Jason is just not my favorite character. I really love Leo, but Piper's just kind of and so, like, so is Jason. So, like, and I remember the first time that I read these books, just, like, spending the entire book going, where's Percy, and why haven't we seen Percy yet? So, reading The Son of Neptune was super fun time. So now I'm reading Mark of Athena as an audiobook. The narrator for Son of Neptune is really, really good, and I really enjoyed him. So, yeah, it was fun just to be back with Percy and his friends. Hazel and Frank are just both just amazing characters. I really love both of them. And this book, like, is just so good. So it was a fun time. Speaking of rereads, I then reread Harry Potter. I almost said Percy Jackson. This is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, which I think is one of my absolute favorite books, because Voldemort is not the main villain. Like, there's still the threat of him there, but they're more concerned about Sirius Black. And it's just, like, a fun book. Like, it's a good time, and, like, very atmospheric, and just, like, really good. So, yeah, reread I think this is only the second time I've read through the whole series. So, now have finished Prisoner of Azkaban. And then I finished off the month by reading a spooky-ish book, and that is Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin, I think. And I guess it's not really spooky, it's more witchy. So the main character, so you have two main characters. So Lou is a witch, but she is secretly a witch because witches are being hunted. And she gets caught in a compromising position with this captain of, like, the witch hunting guard, named Reed. And to save face, and so that she doesn't, like, go to jail, they end up getting married. But she's keeping her witch powers a secret from Reed because, like, if he found out she was a witch, obviously bad things would happen. So it was a really interesting book. There was one sex scene, and I did not appreciate that at all. But other than that, the romance was really cute, and I quite enjoyed the, like, enemies to friends to lovers, because obviously, like, that's going to happen if you have, but it's different because these people are already, like, actually married. They're not even, like, fake dating or fake married. They're literally actually married. So it was really cool to see Lou kind of break down her own walls and see Reed also kind of take down his walls and, like, accept her as a person. And yeah, it was very interesting. I don't know if I'm going to read the second book or not. It didn't end on, like, a big enough cliffhanger that I was like, I need to read the second book, but it definitely had a couple of twists that I was not expecting. And it was a good Halloween read, so yeah. So yeah, that is it for my October wrap-up. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you've read any of these books, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to talk to you about any of them. And thanks again for watching. If you want to follow me on social media, all my links are in the description as always. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!